everyone here. We have Manan here, as you know his story now that we also sent an email. And 3 years he had been preparing a very disheartening journey, so to say, very traumatic must have been because I haven't spoken to him. I've just had this interaction. And 5 times he wrote the GMAT, and he really had some experiences at other test prep companies. I would really want him to tell what he should have done or what he did eventually, what he shouldn't have done, etc. So I'm stopping the screen, Manan. Just start your video. Hey,
Hello,
Manan,
good.
finally,
Hi.
yes, we get to see each other. All right, all right. So, Manan, first of all, what a journey you've had, and you were so elated when the score came. My team
Hi.
shared that with me. So, just why don't you take us through your journey, telling us what we should not do that you may have done and what you eventually did that worked out for you.
Of course. So, hi, good morning, everyone. And as sir mentioned, I prepared for GMAT for around 3 years, and it was a really painful and stressful journey. To have that motivation to reattempt the exam after every failed. So, if I tell you something, what I did previously, I joined multiple institutes. I joined IMS, and I would not like to name any of those. But the thing was, many of the Indian preparation institutes were not giving the right material to study. They were all using their CAT or any other material that they used to give us for study, and they were just giving us questions and making us work on them rather than introducing us to the concepts, the
Mhm.
strategies that we can develop. So that way, the accuracy was too low, and the concepts that we used worked on very limited number of questions,
Right.
and that was not at all a good strategy. And I was just solving questions rather than going through the concepts, the strategies that worked out. So I got introduced to Sandeep sir and the team, and it was a very fascinating journey to connect with him. And so he is a really motivator. Like whenever I used to feel low, not only for GMAT, I just used to open sir's videos, any of his KTW folder. That's so massive, and there are plenty of resources. I just used to watch and get some motivation to do something. So one big thing that Sandeep sir helped me was to raise my bar high. Earlier, I
Right.
used to think, okay, let's assume for 720, 730. But with Sandeep sir, I was like, okay, 770 is my goal, nothing less
Right.
than that. So
Right.
that really helped. And when we talk about the material and the courseware that Sandeep sir shared, I have given GMAT 4 times. I have prepared for, before connecting with sir, I have prepared for more than 2.5 years before connecting with him. Still, I would say 80% of the coursework was new to me. Those things I'd never, ever read anywhere before. The
Manan,
strategy,
just a
Mhm.
little clarification on this. 80% of the techniques were new, or 80% of the questions were also new? The
the
techniques,
techniques, the
technique.
techniques,
Right,
the
right, right. So
techniques.
carry on.
I never heard about there is something called conditional reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I, the boldface questions techniques, the RC techniques. So, sir, in RC, I used to struggle a lot. I got confused between the lines, and I used to reread things, go to the
Mm-hmm.
questions and come back. But with the octave strategy, I was so much able to grasp what the passage is saying and
Mm-hmm.
how things are working. And if I
Right.
tell you what things worked for me, first was, of course, the documentation of everything that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I really use the error log, and I used to analyze every 3 weeks, where am I doing, what's the accuracy across different sections.
Mm-hmm.
If I did a question wrong, what was the mistake, I used to write everything down. If I did a
Right.
question and if there was a close substitute while I was thinking while doing that, I used to note that down and write why this was wrong. So
Right. Right.
when I recalled all these things, this really helped me gain, okay, the weak areas, and I could
Mm-hmm.
build up on that. Because if we just read, we forget after 1 or 2 months.
Right.
So
Right.
the
Absolutely.
documentation is really a key. And if we talk about in the later stage, when our exam is just 10 to 15 days there, we should really be, more confident rather than have anxiety among us. Because if we build that anxiety of, I need to do 100 questions, and we are not able to do that, we'll take that anxiety to the test center, and that should not be the case. When we enter the test center, we should be really confident of our preparation, and we should really pat ourselves, yes, we can do this. And I think
Right.
Sandeep
Right.
sir's video really helped me gain that confidence, that yes, things can be done. So
Right.
in the last days, I would say just, meditate, do some breathing exercise, go through the concepts, and I think that would be more than sufficient to make you confident for the exam.
All right. So, Manan, one by one, if I would like to ask, Quant was data sufficiency problem. Were there some challenges in some topics, or was it only practice for you? Let's see one by one. I'll
Uh,
ask.
sure, sir. So, sir, to be really honest, I was a bit confident in quant earlier,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
like, but the weak area was verbal. But when I talk about the coursework that I went through, things were really new, and the question level was up to the mark. Like, I could
mhm,
solve really challenging questions, and I would like to share that in the exam, questions were coming of that level in the later phase of the exam. Like, I scored
right,
Q51. People say that quant GMAT is very easy, you need to do easy questions, but it's not the case. In the end, you will get some tough questions and you need to prepare for that. It's not only the OG questions that one should do.
right, right.
So your coursework really provided me with that material, and
Mhm.
that was a really boom.
Okay. And RC, you said Octave you went through, but just give an idea. Did you do, let's say, the entire 700 to 800 document, the official material, LSAT, or did you do some selective study with RC, CR, and SC, each of these? Just.
Right. So, sir, first of all, the customized plan coursework that I
Mhm,
was a self-placed student.
mhm,
So I first went through start
mhm,
to end, and I just blindly followed that without any
mhm,
time practice. Then for the 700 to 800 questions, I started doing my time practice. I
mhm,
used to set a timer in front of me, and for every question, I had a limit. Okay, I need to give, let's
mhm,
say, 6 minutes for a three questions. Like early,
mhm,
my target used to change with time, and with that, I was able to do the questions within that time limit. And with
mhm.
the Octave strategy, I was not lost between the lines.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
I used to focus on the grist. I was able to select, okay, do I need to pay more emphasis to this line, or just have a grist and move ahead. Earlier,
Right.
what I used to do was I just focused on either getting a glimpse of where I am and getting
Mhm,
a gist of things and moving ahead, and not able to capture the details. But
right.
with Sandeep sir, I first focused on the accuracy. I built my
Mhm,
accuracy slow by slow. My reading pace was very slow. I built that
mhm.
accuracy, developed the concepts, mastered the octave, and then gradually the speed itself increased.
That's exactly an ideal approach. People ask me what to do about speed. The speed actually increases automatically in verbal. That is generally the case. Tell us about CR and SC as well. What were your challenges?
So for SC, I I I am a student who was weak in grammar since school only. So
Mhm,
in my verbal communication as well, I made tremendous grammatical mistakes. And with this session, I got a a structured pathway to study. Many
mhm,
people tend to focus on very limited number of things that are very common, but sir really pointed out to the key areas that may not happen at the case. For a very small example, we say that had represents past perfect, but it's not the case. You need to see what is with had, and you need to
mhm.
select, is it a past tense or a past perfect. So
Right.
things like these really help to capture and have a structured methodology how you can
Mhm.
look at things, rather than just picking up fruits from the tree won't work.
Mm.
You need to have a structured plan in your mind. So, and that's
So
where
you
SC
followed the
helps.
whole SC entire concept thing, 100
Sure.
questions and
Yes,
all
sir.
of that later.
Yes, sir. Step by step, as mentioned.
All that. And critical reasoning, was that a strength? Probably. I
Yeah,
mean, better.
critical strength was my strength earlier, but I used to struggle in boldface, and when I was preparing, I was most confident for the boldface questions.
Right,
So
right.
the strategies to like earlier, I used to identify, okay, what's the conclusion, what's the premise, but I didn't really had an idea that
Mhm,
what's the fact, what's the hypothesis, how should we
mhm.
look at the keywords. That thing
Right.
really helped me identify what's the conclusion, whether should
Mhm.
this be challenged or not. And
Right, right.
these areas really helped me in other CR questions as well, to identify the conclusion so that we can attack that conclusion if and when required.
Okay. And tell us about the
So
practice
I think
phase. Yeah,
the
yeah.
course
So,
where. Mhm.
yeah. Go ahead. Tell me
Yeah.
about the practice phase
So
also. When
regarding
you
the
just finished the entire concept building phase, how did you go about that? Because people eventually, when they reach there, they are a bit clueless about how to do the practice. So just tell us that as well.
Right. So for that, like when I completed my courseware, I had roughly 1.5 month for my actual exam,
Right,
and I laid a broad strategy of how my next 6 to 7 weeks will look like. And
right.
with that, I planned for each week on each Monday how my each
Mm-hmm.
week will look like. And with
Right.
that strategy, I didn't panic while studying. when
Mm-hmm.
when I have a strategy, okay, this thing I'll do it in that week, I was more able to focus on what I'm doing currently rather than just thinking, okay, ye bhi nahi hua, wo bhi nahi hua.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that thing helped. And the second thing I would say is, as I mentioned, the error log, you need to really use that. I didn't really use it for the questions, but for my mocks as well, for my weak areas as well. Just
Mm-hmm.
document everything. Check your accuracy where you are lagging. I used to check every 2 weeks where am I lagging. So for RC, for example, I realized that it's a feminism type of passages that I'm having a low accuracy. I started reading more about it.
Right, right. That is how I've suggested in awareness videos also. Great, great. And eventually, was this test this time anxiety ridden or a surprise, or was it smooth this time? The
Uh,
final exam, Angas.
So on the final exam, I was a bit confident, to be really honest. Though
Mm-hmm.
there is some test anxiety always there, that how will it be? But I just followed one mantra, that don't focus on the result. I just need to put in my best efforts. I
Right,
don't need to complain with myself that I didn't give my 100%. So
right.
I just followed this in my mind that I need to give my efforts, full 100% efforts. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
the result may be, I should not be disappointed with myself.
Right, right, right.
So with this mantra, I think I was feeling very confident. And so to your surprise, uh, in my verbal section, I was left with 8 minutes, which is
What?
like
Okay, that's
like
great,
never
really.
a case for me. I was
I'm
always
sure this is
in my
very, very heartening to know.
in my four
Um,
attempts, I was like 10 questions and like 5 questions left with 5 minutes in all my attempts.
right. Any surprises at all, Manan, in Quant to Verbal? Anything that you'd never seen before? Unusual questions, anything like that? Please tell
I
me.
think there was not anything unusual in verbal. In fact, I'll say that the RC came bit easy, what I thought it to
Mm-hmm.
be. So things were really, in uh, verbal, things were really easy to handle, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't any surprise. In quant, yes, uh, I was at times stuck in some questions and I spent roughly like 2.5 3 minutes, which should not be the case. But yeah, the surprise was only that in quant, in the later phase, some questions were really tough, and we
Mm-hmm.
really need to solve till the end before selecting any option in data sufficiency. Just
Right, right.
looking at
Absolutely.
things won't
Yeah.
make help you make a good judgment. We really need to solve and see the answer and then take the question,
So
I would
you
say.
got 51 anyway. That means you would have got all of them right anyway. But still, eventually, you did feel that they were tougher, that they were not absolutely easy in the math
Right,
section.
right,
All
right.
right. And did you expect 760? Because the way you message was as if you were not
No, sir.
ever going to get this score.
Not at all, sir. But like when I clicked on the submit button, I was like, I if I get 730 plus, it's a party for me. Like I was like, just get me 730 plus, and when I saw 760, it was mind-boggling. Really.
Right, right,
And
right.
answer to your surprise, yesterday only I got my official report, and I got a AWA 616 as well, which was never
Superb.
a case.
Superb to know. Superb. So, what are the two, three things that you think people should not do? Because now you had a long journey and you're on the other side, can tell that never do this. Ye bilkul nahi karna. And some of the things that they should do, definitely. Let me know.
Right. So some of the things that one should never do is just jump to the questions. First, go through the concept, understand the gist, the method, the strategy of doing things, and then solve the questions. Second, don't get demotivated when you are not able to get a good score in the mock, when you are performing good and then suddenly you get a dip in your accuracy, don't get demotivated. It's a part of the process and you will get through it. So these
Mm-hmm.
are the things that you should not do. And things that you should definitely do, and I have been stressing upon this, is maintaining a error log, following Sandeep sir. And in the last few days, just build your confidence. Don't build your anxiety, because that anxiety will go to the test center.
And how has the know the world thing? You said this has motivated you in times, but otherwise, did you finish some of it? Are you left with some of the stuff that you'll do?
Yeah, I'm
Because
left with last two videos. Actually, I used to listen to these videos like when I used to travel for work, and
that's
this was a really useful time which I used to kill in traffic. So
that's
I
great to
really
hear.
was motivated when I went to work. When I came back, I was again motivated to come back and study. And
Right, right,
one thing I would also like to highlight is just identify the time that works for you for studying. Like
right,
earlier, I thought that I saw motivational videos, wake early, study hard, and I tried to adopt that. But later on, I realized that I am a night person and that works more for me. So it's
right.
different for everyone. Just identify what works for you and choose
Mm-hmm.
that time to work, to study
Perfect.
rather than just following motivational speakers.
So now you're applying round one or round two, or are you applying later? Like, what's the plan?
So sir, I'm thinking of applying to round two because round one is just
Yeah,
10,
very,
15
very
days.
close now.
Yeah, so I just want
So
to have a good good application before I take it.
super, super.
Yeah,
All the very best. Finish the Know the World videos before our application
of course.
starts. I can tell you it will really, really boost everything, your interview performance, your essay writing, your everything. And do keep in touch, Manan. It has been absolutely fabulous to know that eventually the journey could become fruitful. I know it's very traumatic for people to go through something like this. I can only imagine how difficult it would have been. Not just the money. I mean, money is obviously that 4 lakh rupees. I was told I was really heartbroken that this much money people really waste and they do not get the result, but more than that, time, I think, and the trauma alongside
Of
it.
course.
So I really believe now you have 51 on Quant, so the score is never going to be a deterrent to any business school. All the very best and keep in touch. Right.
Thanks a lot, sir.